If you think the world not having SNAP benefits is bad, just wait till we start losing daycare, which is basically the CAPS program. That's really when we gonna see a drastic change.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I started thinking yesterday. I was like, well, if the government is shut down and people can't go to work, and they're cutting the funding in regards to like government programs such as SNAP, Childcare, and other programs as well, how are some of these parents going to be able to pay for the childcare for their children to go, especially if they get childcare assistance? So it's totally going to have a domino effect. I really don't know what is going to be the outcome of this, but everything is shutting down. Make sure you're watching your pockets. Make sure you have backup plans, especially if you get childcare assistance or you don't have a support system that can help you with your children. And that's one of the reasons why I am a stay-at-home mom, because I can't afford childcare at this point in time. Just try not to stress yourself out, everybody. This will come to an end at some point, okay? You're just gonna have to learn how to pivot, like I've said in all my other videos. But yeah, it's getting real, and just make sure, you're doing what you can to get through this.
Crazy work. I'm all about cutting out the waste. I'm all about encouraging those of us that are able-bodied to be able to get out here and produce. But the kids hadn't done anything. You got folks working, a lot of moms working, and they need the daycare to be able to be productive. You're taking from people that are out being productive, those that are being productive. I'm not talking about ones that are using the system to not produce, but you're penalizing folks that are going out to produce because they need this daycare assistance, because daycare costs are through the roof since 2019. They're up 210%. Nobody talks about that. And so we're going to get on into that on the next video, but I digress. This is just asinine. And you all that are dealing with this daycare situation, because I don't have that situation, I feel for you, number one. Number two, like the young lady said earlier, you got to hang in there. These are the times where, again, community is always going to come back. It never goes away. It's about those that are among you, those that labor among you. You got to know one another. And we have to treat one another the right way, because you might have to lean on somebody at some point in time in this life. And so those are facts. So point out several things and hopefully give you some solutions. But more importantly, I want you to pay attention. For those of you that like to play the politics games and vote and things of that nature, look and understand these folks don't care about you. Regardless of what affiliation, they're getting paid and you're not. A lot of you are missing services that you need. Remember that, and then plan accordingly as we move forward. My name is Robert, and on this channel, my goal is to simplify the home loan process. Let's look at the fiasco. Let's look at some of these representatives and all the talking that they're doing, all the while being paid, while you might have to forego or lose daycare, maybe even your job, because of the shenanigans that are going on.
We're talking to parents still that don't have any idea that this is happening or what's going to happen. Just a little bit concerned, a whole lot concerned actually, that we've given less than a pay period to these parents to figure out how they're going to pay for childcare.
Right. And that's why I'm saying,
with the copay that goes up by October 1st.
And I want to work with the providers. I want to work with this delegation. What I'm telling you is, if we don't do something, this pot of money will not have any money in it, and somebody's going to have to fill this pot of money with money from somewhere else. And I don't have the authority to do that.
So now my FYP is blowing up with these moms that's upset because now in certain states, they have taken the daycare vouchers, and a lot of women don't have anybody to keep their kids, and they're losing their jobs and all kind of things. This is what I want to say. At 16, I had my son, my first son. Now he's 34. And I can remember trying to go to school. I had found a job. My mom had to get a second job because it was just me and her because my dad had passed. Okay. So now she went from working a night job to taking on another job in the daytime, but we didn't have anybody to keep my son. So we found a daycare that I had heard about. So when I went into that daycare, I was crying off the top because I was crying. I didn't have nobody to keep my child. I didn't know how I was going to pay for this with my little part-time job I had and going to school. The lady told me, I never will forget, she said, calm down, the teacher. She said, let me talk to the lady that owns this place and let's see what we can do. Back then, the daycare was like $125 a week. And those women said, they sat down and talked to me and told me to calm down. They could tell that I was really trying. The lady told me, I never will forget, I'm about to cry. She said, you pay us $50 a week. If you can, $75. And when you get your good job, you straighten us out. And I said, thank you. I want to say, my whole life, my mama taught me just to work. And if you do something, my son isn't a mistake, but I felt like I let my mom down. So my whole life I spent working and trying to have things for him and us. Was I perfect? No. But I never got the government to give me anything because it wasn't the government's fault that I chose to lay down and have him. So I figured it out. It's upsetting me because you got women on here crying instead of figuring it out. And you looking at a 16-year-old mom that had to figure some shit out back then. I didn't cry. I cried a lot. I did. But I didn't want nobody to give me anything. I just needed a little help. That was it. And my whole life, God figured out a way for me and my 34-year-old son. We made it. Not the perfectest mom because I was 16. At 16, who knows how to be a mom? You know what I'm saying? But it kind of breaks my heart to see these women on here crying about food stamps, daycare assistant, and all this stuff. And it's like, did y'all ever try before it came to this? Did y'all try to do the stuff on y'all own? Or did y'all always sit back and just wait for the government to give you assistance for kids that you laid down and have? Y'all got to do better. I made it with the help of God and my mom. And y'all sitting up here crying instead of trying to make it and fussing about the government. Government don't owe you nothing because the government didn't lay down and have those kids. Y'all did.
So real talk there. What comes to mind with a story is accountability. And that's something that all of these politicians don't seem to have. Again, how can you be held accountable when your income, your source, your provision doesn't come from the people, the so-called people that you represent? And so they get to talking, all that jaw-jacking, and nobody makes a decision whole time. They're getting paid. I want to keep saying that to you. Now, in the real world, like the lady was sharing her testimony, she had to be able to humble herself, more importantly, take responsibility for her actions, which she did. And when she did that, not only was mom there, and mom is more times than not going to be there, but at the daycare, when her month exceeded her money based upon her income, there was help there. You see, the Lord will provide when you do all you can do. And so that's for all of you out here trying to shame or scare me. Let me say scare with the scriptures. You're not using the scriptures correctly, because edification, reproof, and correction are all good for righteousness. And so again, whenever we all hear something that we don't like, more times than not, it's because it's applicable to us. And that's an opportunity to repent if we can humble ourselves. I digress on that point. When you help yourself, help seems to show up. But help is for a season. It's not for a lifetime. I'm from the opinion that those that have abused the system have helped get us to this point. Don't deflect and try to talk about, well, Jimmy got $40 billion. That ain't got nothing to do with you. And that's my point. Everything starts with us. Then it starts within your household. Then in your neighborhood. Then in your community. So the people that you send to Washington to represent you are really a reflection of who you are. Because really, they're just a reflection of the overall society. Not everyone, but the majority, right? Everybody wants something for nothing. And a bunch of thieves are running out here. And that's just the truth of the matter. What happens ultimately, a lot of good people get caught in the cross with this foolishness. But hopefully we can learn from these hard times, because hard times, if you allow it, build you up and will teach you some things. Shout out for sharing your testimony and being honest and vulnerable, because decisions have consequences. But you know, once you own up to it and get past it, the shame or whatever, then typically, you know, your victory is on the other side. Now, this next video, this is for those of you that like to run to unrighteousness and don't want nobody to tell you nothing. Well, check out this next video. These are folks in the game that are talking about, again, the arrogance, the blatant theft that a lot of folks are participating in, and has helped get us to this point where folks that need this help don't get it.
I love when you guys leave feedback. You guys are amazing. But there's always conversations that people don't like to hear and don't want us to talk about it because they know damn well the guilt and they know that they fall under that category. So let's talk about this. She obviously runs a daycare, and she said that her mouth dropped when a parent came in who was on subsidized care. If you don't know what subsidized care is, like an agency in the city or county that you live in, is federal or state money who pays basically your daycare bill while you're supposedly working or searching for a job, or in the CalWorks Welfare to Work program. You receive food stamps, you receive Medi-Cal, all that good stuff, okay? She walked in with red bottoms. Do y'all know how much red bottoms are? I love that, because that's another thing that you guys don't want to talk about. You know how many people we know that admit to getting free daycare, free get bus passes, that's what they're called here, for transportation. They don't use them. It's just a waste. They're just stacking them up. And then you guys get upset when people talk about it. Like me, I don't care. As long as you follow my rules, you can have any kind of subsidized care that you get paid for it. Cool, just follow my rules. I'll watch your children. That's my job. I provide a service. Great. But the big fat but is that there's so many things in the middle that play. You know how many parents I used to have that come in that had 4 to 6 kids and we're on subsidized care? Because I know, because I have to know. I have to be fully aware of the paperwork that it comes involved. I have to accept their contract. They have to accept my rules because it is a contract through an agency, just to give you a little bit of a backstory. And then every year they come with a brand new car. Their kids are dressed in nothing but name brand. And don't get me wrong, I know that's not like a standpoint, because I'm a couponer and I will find a bargain even on name brand shit. Like, don't play with me. Like, I get it. There's always a different way. But sometimes it's just like in your face, right? And you're just like scratching your head like you're on subsidized care. I had a mom one day come in and she had the clear Louis. They had just came out like 2 months fresh. There were $1,200 or $1,500 shoes. They were clear Louis Vuittons. And she walked in like, yep, I'm cute. Brand new car, everything. So it's like, some people do fall under the radar. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in today. I said this many of times on my videos. The system is broken, even for the government agencies that provide a service. You know, disabled people, veterans, those should be our priority. I said this in the other one and people got upset and saying that I'm judging. No, we're talking facts. The fact is that we're judging the fruit and the way you're walking and manifesting and bragging and boasting about the fact that you get all this help. And now you're crying because, oh my God, you can't pay $50 in your rent no more because they're going to take your Section 8, because now you have to work a minimum of an amount of certain hours, because you're not supposed to make a lifestyle out of the government agencies. You're supposed to use it as a resource to help you get on your feet and then move on.
Well said. Well said. Let me say a couple of things. Love everybody that comes in the comment section, because it's about free speech. But I'm noticing that a lot of you all are emotional. And instead of addressing the topic at hand, you want to attack. And that really speaks to your level of maturity. Hopefully you can grow from that. Secondly, I'm not a gatekeeper. A lot of the bros and sisters try to get at me and try to shame me. I'm about what's right. Okay? So if you trying to come with that hood stuff, that street stuff, you know, I'm about what's right. And I'm speaking from the heart. You see what I'm saying? That said, I can always be corrected. So if I'm in error, please correct me. But don't come with that foolishness. We're talking about home ownership here. Again, the purpose of this channel is to simplify the home loan process. Well, why are you talking about this government shutdown? Because that affects people potentially wanting to get onto the property ladder. Daycare is a monster. I really didn't know how much you guys are paying for daycare. And if you're working and you're trying to better yourself, I feel like that's some money that the government, we the people, can put money towards, because you're being a productive member of society, and you need to have your children in a place, if you choose, that's safe and where they can be fed and you can do what you need to do. I'm not a proponent of that. We didn't do that. We did without, because to me, the children are a gift, and we needed to bring them up in the way that they should go. And so what that meant is we spent a lot of time with one another. We talked a lot. And in that talking, we created images. And those images led to memories, right? And then in the end, right, we could go back and look at all of those memories that we created and reminisce, okay, as you look back. So we spent a lot of time together and not a lot of money, because my wife stayed at home with our children. Those of you that are home with your children, don't let anybody shame you. That's the most important job that you can have if you have that heart to do so. Everybody doesn't have the heart to do so. I'm not trying to shame those of you that want to go to work, but a domestic engineer saves thousands of dollars. If you are paying daycare, you know I ain't lying. Some of y'all paying $3,000 a month. This is one of the reasons you can't get onto the property ladder. Everybody's talking about housing. How about daycare and these fake degrees that a lot of folks are getting that they're running you into? I digress. I'm getting off on the point. I don't want to be emotional. So stay tuned for that next video. So we have to start weeding out those that are able-bodied and encouraging you guys to get onto the property ladder, because your kids can get the care that they need. They can get the nourishment that they need. And when it's your time, when you become an elder, see, it comes back to you. You reap what you sow. Because once you become elder status, you shouldn't be worried about shelter and nutrition and things of that nature either. I didn't say the creme de la creme. If you want more and above, you're in a place right now where you can go get it. But I'm talking about basic needs that are clean, safe, and good food. The kids and the elders and those that can't fend for themselves, really, they should get those things. And we the people, the able-bodied folks, should be able to do that. And again, when you're a kid, you reap. And when you become an elder, you reap. That's what I'm saying. So appreciate you guys. Get down in the comment section. Let us know how you feel. Disagree, agree. Do so and express yourself. Don't throw a tantrum and ad hominem attacks. We're getting better as a community. And this helps. This helps. You can start becoming a better communicator, and we can start weeding out some of these problems until he returns. You got to occupy. And so my time is up, but I thank you for yours. As I always say, guys, let's be good to one another. Let us let grace abound. Check out this video here, and until the next time, indeed, y'all stay blessed.